We've got quite a crew here. Rick Kamla with a trio of former players turned coach. We have Coach of the Year Mike Dunleavy, Hall of Famer Isaiah Thomas, and the head coach of the Brooklyn Nets, Lionel Hollins. And Lionel, we welcome you back to the NBA TV family. How are you?
It's fun to be back. I watch you guys, and now to come and join you again, I'm excited.
It's great to have you, and we're happy about your gig with the Brooklyn Nets, making the playoffs and, you know, taking the top-seeded Hawks to 6 games. It was a good showing by your team. Obviously, you battled the Wizards during the regular season. So what's your take on that series that's going to get back underway here about 8 Eastern time on TNT?
Well, I really feel like Washington was in control of the series early, and then Wall goes down, and I don't think they can win the series without John Wall playing. Bynum has played well, Sessions has played well, but they have their limitations, and John Wall can do so much and cause so much havoc, and he can guard Jeff Teague one-on-one and keep him out of the paint. So I think that if he plays, they could get back if he's effective, at least defensively effective, because this is Teague's game, is getting into the paint, creating for himself and creating for those other guys, which cause you to scramble on defense, and they're very good at playing scramble on offense.
We're on pins and needles trying to find out if Wall's going to play. So All-Star John Wall has missed the past 3 games due to non-displaced fractures in his left hand and wrist. But he was seen shooting during Tuesday's practice, and earlier today he was testing out that injured left hand to see if he could play. As we speak, he's still a game-time decision for tonight's Game 5, and he talked about the decision to play or not to play at today's shoot-around.
It's comfortable. I mean, it's just been feeling that I feel confident. I mean, that's the biggest thing, is just feeling confident. It can be comfortable no matter what, but if you're not confident in your ability to do what you want to do, there's no point in playing.
Where would you say you are right now with regard to confidence?
I can't really say, to be honest, because it's only been a day. And so, you know what I mean? Hopefully I can get some other work in before the game. It's early on before the game to see what my mindset is and how confident I feel in it, because I don't want to go out there and not be able to help those guys, and these guys have been playing well and been in every game. So if I can't go out there and be confident and be myself, I don't want to take nothing away from how well the team's been playing.
You haven't been hitting it yet, have you?
I'll be smacking it around myself.
Yeah, you haven't tested the pain threshold?
Yeah, I got very high pain tolerance.
He is a tough guy. It's been documented by Randy Whitman. He plays through all kinds of stuff. And, Mike, is this a risky decision in terms of maybe making the injury worse, or is it just about it's the playoffs, you got to go, you got to give your team what you can?
Well, I think that's the clear decision of the doctors. I mean, he's their franchise player. We all think in terms of this guy can play at a high level, they have a chance they could win this series. But what is it worth? I mean, it's not worth the future. So if there's any risk going forward, I think you gotta hold him out. I mean, we know his mindset is that he's a warrior and he'll play. And as a coach, and all 3 guys at this desk, I know would want to be out there playing the same thing. And the franchise needs to protect themselves from him. And you know, same type of thing. You know he wants to play, and he may not use good judgment in it. So I'm looking forward to seeing what happens.
Yeah, no doubt that these 3 guys up here are super, super competitive as players and as coaches as well. And you 2 gentlemen played through broken left hands back in your day. Talk about how you had to adjust your game, and if Wall plays tonight and comes back, how he might have to adjust his game.
Well, the first thing that I did is I wanted to make sure that I was effective defensively. And I didn't necessarily think about how I would score the basketball. I wanted to make sure that I can distribute the basketball and also make sure that I can defend and keep the point guards out of the lane. And if I could do that, then I thought I could help my team play, help my team win. Then as you're going through the course of the game, you figure out you'll get a layup, you'll get fouled, maybe make a free throw, and then you start adjusting how you can figure out how to shoot the basketball. But in tonight's game, his effectiveness will be on the defensive end, trying to keep the ball in front of him and being a distributor with his right hand. And if he happens to score, great, but for the most part, it's all about defense for John Wall tonight.
Lionel, I'll hear from you on that in just one second, but I've just received word. Chris Miller, the sideline reporter for the Washington Wizards, has said that John Wall is active and will play tonight in Game 5. Obviously, the series tied at 2. Crucial to have Wall out there. So great news for the NBA. John Wall is back. We'll see what his effectiveness can be with that hand. So, Coach, help me out with that. The same question to Isaiah. You played with the broken left hand. How did you adjust, and how will Wall adjust?
Well, Wall have an easier time because it is his left hand. For me, I was left-handed, and I couldn't dribble the ball. I couldn't catch passes, so I actually had to sit out a couple of series, and we did make it to the finals, and I was able to come back, but I wasn't effective, out of rhythm. But I think they need him to play. And, you know, the playoffs have been about a lot of guys getting injured, and it's unfortunate, and it's nice when these guys can play, because that's what the fans want to see.
Now, Chris Miller says with no minutes restrictions, you wonder if he will play with the protective wrap or pad or glove or whatever it is, or without. We'll be watching for that. Let's talk Hawks here. And Paul Millsap said about Game 4, quote, "That's how we play," end quote. Here's the proof. During the regular season, obviously one of the top assist teams at 25.7. They dished out 30 dimes in Game 4, known for hitting threes. They made 47.4% of their threes, and 69.3% of their field goals came off of assists. So the Hawks are 19-2 this season when they dish out 30-plus assists. And as you can see right here, a big assist game in Game 4. Mike, what has Coach Bud done to create such a selfless environment?
Well, it starts with the guys, and he's got some unselfish point guards who can break down defenses and collapse defenses, and then they're able to make plays. And they have the ultimate stretcher in Kyle Korver. So they've got a great mix. They've got a bunch of really good jump shooters, and they know that if they move the ball and break people down and unselfish, they'll all get shots, and they'll make shots. And that's been, I think, the big difference to their team. Like I've said before, they remind me of the 69-73 New York Knicks. The way they move the ball around, they can make jump shots. They're a little bit of an undersized team.
Well, Mike Budenholzer made an adjustment for Game 4, played the double point guard look more than he had played in the previous 3 games, and Schroeder and Teague were driving on the Washington Wizards. You see the drives in Game 4, 29 of them. The team points from drives were 31, generating 48 points in the paint. Isaiah, do you expect more of that double point guard look and more of this attacking tonight in Game 5?
I expect to see more of it. However, with Wall playing, now they have 2 guards that can really match up and keep those guards out of the lane. In game 4, they didn't. But when you look at Teague here, he turns down. Normally, he would throw that back to Millsap for a shot, but his aggressiveness says, okay, I can get to the lane, I can get to the basket, and he makes a layup. Now they come back with Schroeder. And as Coach Holland said, these are the 2 engines for the Atlanta Hawks. They don't have to change the way they play. He sees Bynum peeking at the screen. He gets into the lane, finishes at the basket, and then again, you see here, peeking at the screen, he takes him off, and most importantly, frees it right there. He leaves 2 defenders. Now on the back line, he's playing 3 against 2. Teague's in the middle of the lane. He can make the lob. He can make the shot. The speed of those 2 guards coming off screens, constantly putting pressure on the defense. Every coach up here says when that guard comes off, you got to turn the corner. These 2 guards that Atlanta has, they turn the corner, they get into the lane, and they leave 2 defenders behind. So constantly they're playing 3 against 2 or 2 against 1 in the paint.
Let's talk Kyle Korver here. There's been a real home and road split thing for him. He had 9 field goal attempts in the last 2 games, of course, in Washington, and he averaged just 10 points. However, in games 1 and 2 at home, he averaged 16 points, and the 3-point attempts were up significantly. This is a continuation of a trend that began in the Brooklyn series, and Coach Hollins, you coached against Kyle Korver in the first round, and this trend was going on then. What did you see from Korver in those road games that dropped him down a little bit?
Well, I just think that at home we did a good job on them, keeping them out of the paint. But once they got in the paint on the road, he was open a lot, and he just didn't get the shots. And when they're playing really well, he doesn't get a lot of shots. All those guys are playing, but sometimes they utilize him more, and the guy runs to an open spot. And when that engine, as Zeke just said, breaks you down and activates your defense, you have to come in and help. And now you're throwing it out. There's a scramble, and he puts it on the floor. And now there's another pass, and Kyle Korver is sitting there hitting a wide open 3.